What's up, Crypto Paradise fam? It's Ian and Nick. We are back with another project interview. This time we have Abdul from Gora Network. Great guy. Super excited for you guys to get to know him a bit. Before we dive into the questions, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. We are investors in Gora. We are advisors, long-term advisors to Gora. We are long-term bullish on the project. One reason why we wanted to have him on the channel. But want to let you guys know, just out of just full disclosure, we are invested. We are believers. So with that, Abdul, if you can just introduce yourself, your journey in crypto, how you got here, that would be great.
For sure. Thanks for having me on, guys. And it's been great having your support for this last couple of years. Yeah, so we started about 3 years ago. It feels like 10 years ago in this space, but it was really, when I looked at the calendar, it was 3 years ago. And so we started off really building some kind of a sports application fantasy. And this was something I was doing sort of as a side job where, I really love sports and we play a lot of fantasy basketball. And this was a cool way of tracking the games that people play. And so this got excited. I decided to put it on the blockchain, then, to really help with the ownership, right? Owning NFTs, owning your own product. And then we stumbled into the fact that we needed an oracle. And so we ended up building our own oracle. And that's how the story of Gora was started. It gained a lot of traction, ended up quitting the day job and have been doing this ever since.
I love it. I love it. That to me, the best projects are the ones solving their own problems, right? If you've identified a real problem, you need an oracle, you built an oracle. So you built that oracle infrastructure on Algorand to start, right? But I know you're migrating or sort of evolving multi-chain going over ETH. Tell us a little about that journey, where it started and where Gora is going, in the future.
Yeah, so if you're a dev, you can already start building on Gora with Ethereum. Or we have example code, we have everything you need to get started, the documentation. So now our Oracle can be used on Ethereum, and soon we're going to keep going to different chains. I think having an Oracle is this sort of evergreen type project where people need oracles, people need to get data on chain rapidly or offload computation. And so it's a journey of, now that the product is mature, where we started off on Algorand, it was really needed the most on Algorand. We matured it, and now we're sort of like this layer 2 solution, right? We can just make the connections between different chains that need us. Ethereum's, where the most liquidity is and where a lot of projects go to build to get the users. So we want it to be there because of the demand.
Yeah, and I would like to say too, about to be on EVM chain. So outside the speculators and the people who want token go up, what this means for an Oracle provider like yourself from a business perspective is a much broader opportunity to acquire clients to use your Oracle data feeds, which in turn produce revenue, which in turn produces token utility. So yes, you guys are on Algorand. You're one of the only main Oracle providers over there. You're supported by Algorand Foundation, but it's still a small kind of gated community versus once you come to Ethereum, you have access to hundreds and thousands of ERC20s that might use your Oracle feeds. Plus, it allows you to scale to their other scaling solutions like Base or Polygon or BSC, and the list goes on and on. So really, from a business perspective, the potential expansion on EVM compatible chains means a lot. And what does that mean for the Gora token utility? Like, how does an increase in clients partake into the actual value of the token itself?
Yeah, so when you have more clients, they're going to need more security. And right now, I think we have about 100 validators or more. We've got about 3 million Gora, or around 3% of the supply staked. And that security is really great. But as more and more come on, they're going to want more security. They're going to pay higher gas fees to get that security. And that results in the people who need to run nodes being more in demand. And you don't have to just run nodes. If you're not technical, you can actually delegate. You guys are our top validator. So anyone can delegate their tokens trustlessly, which means you don't take a hold of it, you get your rewards, and you can withdraw at any time. And we can talk about the benefit to Gora, but how does this help other projects that are on Ethereum, right? We reduce people's time to market by 10 times, right? You're building some kind of connection to the outside world. You have to build your own Oracle. You have to audit that Oracle. You have to maintain that Oracle, make sure your devs are not doing anything crazy. We eliminate all of that. And now if you're a project on Ethereum or these other layer twos, you can, in a matter of a couple of weeks versus like 10 months, get started really quickly. And the gas fees of being paid in Gora are a negligible cost compared to what it would spend to have the devs building. So I think it's just a win-win overall for this decentralized Oracle, where you have all these people providing security and these projects who are going to need this sort of solution.
Yeah, when I zoom out and think about, thank you for that, by the way. When I think about Gora from sort of an investment thesis standpoint, a fundamental standpoint, token utility standpoint, it's pretty rare, in my experience, to find projects that have full on mainnet product out, clients on that product, using the product, staking, mainnet staking available, the ability to delegate your tokens to a validator, stake, earn sustainable rewards, and sitting at a, what do you guys, 2-3 million market cap, as I think something around those lines, right? I think that's a pretty rare set of circumstances to find. It's not investment advice by any means, but for me, that's, a lot of these projects with mainnets and validators taking all the infrastructure that you have and clients, there are 100 million, 200 billion dollar market caps. So it's pretty rare to find like, small market cap, really strong sort of tech-based fundamentals. I think that's pretty special. So tell us a bit more about how do you take Gora from where it's at now to, the big sort of these bigger, how do you compete with like a Chainlink, right? These big Oracle plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And the saying very well, fast money don't last too long, right? And so with that bear market, it's just been a slow kind of a climb in terms of our user base, in terms of our number of people coming to the network, providing security and all those things. And that really allowed our development team and our business development team to just focus on sort of this core mission of growing the utility and growing the customer base for Gora. And I think that positions us really well as we start to onboard more and more users, that a lot of the infrastructure is ready, rather than having, how sometimes the pressure can be when you have a huge successful project. There's just many people coming in for speculation, but really we built sort of our foundation not on speculation, but rather on clear business use cases. And so our documentation is fairly robust. We attend quite a large number of trade shows. And what a lot of people don't see is the fact that some of our biggest customers are these enterprise clients, where they don't talk about, hey, we're building on a chain or anything, but they're using blockchains for its fundamental properties. And so a lot of the revenue generated from these customers go directly back into buying back the token, paying for the security, rewards for the node operators and things like that. And so really, when you look at a behemoth like Chainlink, they can't service everybody. And in fact, probably 60, 70, 80% of projects are not using any Oracle. They're using their own internal Oracle. And so, I don't see it as necessarily a competition against Chainlink. I just see it as a competition more like there's such a large group of people, a large amount of people who are not using an Oracle, primarily because nothing suits their needs. And that's who we're really trying to capture, this sort of un-Oracle group of users.
And I don't know if you guys picked up on a little bit of alpha there, but they're using a percentage of those revenues for token buybacks and using those for the delegation rewards, potential token burns, etc., that you can see in the documentation. And what that does is these tokens that aren't currently in circulation don't need to be used as an inflationary mechanism to pay for these staking rewards. So you kind of have deflationary or sustainable delegation rewards for people validating and protecting the network without having to inflate the supply of core on the open market that can potentially slow down the value of those individual tokens. And like Ian said, currently you are very PR polished, because we brought up price a couple times and you always deflected in a good way, so that's awesome. But Ian, I think you missed a little bit of the rally. Gora is still tiny market cap, but sitting at a 5 billion market capitalization here. And really, you mentioned Chainlink, but I go a step lower to something that maybe that's realistic, is Band protocol. And I don't know how many clients you have, but I know Band doesn't have many. You guys are probably catching up on them already. And Band's sitting at a $205 million market cap, primarily due to the fact that it's been around for a few cycles, and you guys are kind of a new cycle one narrative here. So it'll be exciting to see how the client battle goes between you and Band Protocol, to see where you guys can go and see if you can maybe potentially leapfrog them, because we all know Chainlink's been here for a long time. They have government ties, CCIP worth billions of dollars. So that's a high achievement. Really, I guess the goal would be to just steal some market share from them. But I think competing with the likes of a band would be, very feasible.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And, that's, I think, the blessing of, servicing these enterprise clients is we don't need to do things like sell the token to pay for development or pay for treasury. A lot of that is funded by revenues from paying customers. And so that's been great. And like you said, we're not necessarily, we're sort of moving up slowly, and top 1,000 is our next goal, and top 500 and top 300. And at least for this cycle, that's sort of the aim, is to break into that top 200, top 300 category.
Yeah, I think if you guys keep building and doing what you're doing, you will slowly get there. One of the big catalysts, in which we touched on briefly, the reality is Algorand is a fairly siloed ecosystem, and I think it's great that you got backing from the Algorand Foundation and you started over there and built a lot of info over there. But now moving to Ethereum, that's obviously the biggest chain in the industry, taking the product multi-chain, listing on more exchanges. That's like, if you look at Band, for example, and why are a lot of projects big? It's not necessarily because they have, massive revenues or their fundamentals are incredibly strong because they have tons of stake or something like that. A lot of it's just accessibility, right? Like, what exchange is list on? Band is on Binance, to my knowledge, right? Maybe even on Coinbase now, I'm not sure. So they're accessible, much wider part of the market. You guys move to Ethereum, deploy a pool on Uniswap. You then list on a few more centralized exchanges. All of a sudden, the awareness picks up. The fundamentals are there. They're continuing to get stronger day by day, but that awareness is growing, that accessibility is growing. That's what I think is going to take you guys in large part to, sort of the next level there from a marketing cap standpoint. That's kind of how I look at it anyway.
Yeah, that's almost, straight out of our playbook there.
Exactly. So cool. Looking forward to seeing everything continue to play out for you guys. We've been long-term supporters, as I said. One of the things we always like to do on the Crypto Paradise channel is take it a bit personal, tell some funny stories, cool stories. So with that, Abdul, tell us a time where you did absolutely, incredibly in crypto, where like, oh my God, mind-boggling gains. Hopefully that did happen to you at least once. And then tell us a time or two where you got absolutely wrecked. We want to hear both sides of that coin.
Sure. Crypto's, anybody in crypto will have these kinds of stories. So maybe let's go back to like 2021 when I was starting off building the Oracle. I took maybe about $1,000 and I quickly turned it into like 5 or 6K. This was investing in like shit coins, right? Like, they were pretty bad, if I could say that on this channel. And then I was like, wow, this is really easy money. The market just kept going up. This is the bull run, like I think it was spring of 2021. So I took that and I leveraged it, and then I got to like 25 grand. And this is all in the space of like 1 or 2 days. So, that was probably the fastest I've ever made money. And then, of course, if you don't pull profits, what happens is you get wrecked. And so I thought, this is going to keep going up. Didn't take profits, and that 25K went right back down to like 2K within a couple of days. I think the market like crashed. So that's this in the same span, the same story. We went really well and then got wrecked right after.
It's kind of funny because one of the last interviews we did was something very similar. He was making some good trades, then he went to leverage trading, made a ton of money, and then of course that leverage trade can go ahead and liquidate you overnight, and you're right back almost to square one. There's a lesson in there with a couple interviews in a row talking about leverage trading. So be careful. You need stop levels. Don't do 100x leverage. Do 2x or 3x if you're ever going to play with it. Not financial advice. A lot of risk over there.
Yeah, and also take profits. Even those people that don't leverage, sometimes they let it ride for too long. But it's always great to hold the core amount, and taking some profits here and there is also makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a strategy going in to any trade, any investment, right? Taking out nothing, in terms of pre-sales, for example, an area we're quite familiar with. Nothing wrong with taking your initial investment out. So say it does well, right? You take back, you sell to sort of break even, so to speak, and then you can let the rest ride as a quote moon bag, for example. But I think it's important, have a strategy, stick to that. Obviously, it's not going to be one size fits all. Everyone has their own sort of, goals when it comes to investing. But yeah, we've all been there where, something rode up and then you just ride all the way down, whether that's a leverage trade, whether that's just all coin investment, even the big caps that can happen. If you hold on long enough, you can ride all the way back and then all the Bitcoin crash all the way back down to where it basically was. So nothing wrong with taking profits. Very important lesson there. All right, one final question for you, Abdul. So Crypto Paris, we're all about financial freedom. We're all about taking some calculated risks to reach your financial goals. Tell us a little about what does Crypto Paradise mean to you? In other words, I know you had a traditional job prior to this. What does it mean now, your life? You're in crypto. Tell us some of the freedoms that you have, some of the freedoms you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before you worked a 9 to 5 and, you do your job, you think it's going to be great. And now, we work 24/7. But somehow it's seemingly much better, right? There's the freedom to like have time with my 2 kids. I've got 2 kids under the age of 2. And despite the busy schedule, I can be there when they wake up and I can be there for when they go to bed, right? I sort of can create my own schedule, even though we work a lot. And so, I don't miss any big moments for them. And so really for me, it's less about not working and more about work-life like integration instead of balance, right? You're not balancing these things, but it's integrated. So you do what you enjoy, you do what you love, and you don't miss those really key moments with family and friends. And so to me, it doesn't feel too much like work. It's just, enjoying. So that's paradise without actually sleeping on a beach every day.
That's a good point. Some people just think, oh, crypto is, cupcakes and rainbows and it's so easy, but it's like, you do work a lot of hours, but since it is a 24/7 market, you can kind of finagle each and every day, spread that across those hours versus when you're on that 9 to 5, you wake up at 6:30, you go to work and you get back at 5, you make dinner, you go to bed. With crypto, you have this market, you set up a calendar and you can make it work. You can have the 2-hour breaks in the day to go spend time with the family, hop back on at 6, 7, 8 o'clock to do something else, make a video, whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing worth it is gonna be easy, but as long as it's worth it, it's important.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I was just thinking about this topic this morning. Back on my own childhood, my dad had a traditional job, 9 to 5, traveled a lot, this, that. I'm so involved in my kid's life. Granted, I'm doing Zoom calls and I'm banging out messages while I'm, dropping them off at daycare, but at least, I'm super involved. And that's because of crypto, right? That's really because of the, the leap that I took, and we collectively took many years ago. So thank you so much for your time, Abdul. We hope to have you on again soon. Any final thoughts before we jump?
Yeah, no, I mean, and that was great. And I think Ian, you were a lawyer, so you would have definitely missed a lot of your kids' his life. So, I think that's a great way to end this. And thanks for having me. And hopefully, we can jump back on this call in a couple of years and be on a real beach.
Yeah, where can listeners find Gora? What's your Twitter handle? What's your website? Learn more. Of course, Gora Network is an Oracle provider looking to expand to EVM compatibility, so that's exciting, and we're happy to provide that alpha.
Yeah, so everything you want, you can find it on Gora.io. All the links to socials, anything, just Gora, Gora.io, and from there, get lost in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, highly recommend following the Gora Twitter. They're super active over there. Telegram community is great. Discord as well. A lot of activity there. So definitely get involved with the community. Thank you so much, Abdul, for your time. Nick, it's great as always. And we will see you on the beach. Peace.
My pleasure, guys. Take it easy.